Hello, 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 everybody. It is your baby boomer Kitty Lane from the Peninsula in Virginia, back with another Create and Relate. Come on in the den on this thirsty Thursday. I like the sound of that so much better. You know why I call it Thirsty Thursday? Because, y'all, we got that tea. Yes, I will be serving you tea on these Thirsty Thursdays. And I don't mean gossip tea either. I'm just going to be giving you the good tea, the good tea. Y'all like my little braid twisting? Was playing with my hair. I didn't have anything better to do at the moment. So that's what it is. So before we even get started, and being that I am literally starting my work day, I'm going to start by hydrating these ashy hands. I do not want the friction to cause any burning or melting of the yarn. And if you know like I know. All right, guys. So first of all, welcome everybody in. I want to thank you all for 490 subscribers. 10 to go, guys. 10 to go. And we are at 1,855 viewing hours. And I want to thank Hadijah again for giving me that tip to go through and clear out my history so that I could actually have those hours show up or get credited for those hours. Thank you so much to Hadijah. Okay, now for the thoughts and ticker. Today, my mood is at about a 10. My health is probably at about a 9 flat. And so overall, that puts me at a 9.5, which I think is pretty good. I think anything over 8 is superb. Okay, thus far, I don't have a whole lot to show you since Tuesday. And that's all I'm going to really focus on Thursday. But I will reiterate this. These are my ball bands. And this is so far for the month of February. So I'm doing really, really well. Hopefully I can get at least a couple more in there today. And we can just keep trucking and moving along. Now, one of the two things that I want to show you is been in the designing corner for a little bit. I started designing this square. I haven't gotten any further on it. Um, I know how I'm going to finish out this round, but I don't know what I'm going to do next. So I just kind of let this linger for a little bit. However, this morning I did create another square. Now, the only thing about this square is that the fifth round, you might want to wait to put the fifth round on because it can be joined with the join as you go. It's not a typical granny square at all. As a matter of fact, there are only 2 rounds that have the typical 3 double crochet clusters, and that's round 3 and round 5. And each side of that has 1 cluster. It is a series of double crochets, and I call this one Bearing the Cross. Why that? Well, I'm looking at this as possibly my March blanket going into Easter. I'm going to be making mine with a lot of pretty pastel colors. If I go with any strong colors, they'll be the bright colors. But definitely going to put this in play for Easter. And of course, we know what Easter represents. And there's one here, round 2, where you have the double crochet and then you have the V-stitch. So I have like Jesus and the thieves, Jesus and the thieves, Jesus and the thieves. And then when you get up to round 3, is basically where you're pulling that circle into a square. And round 4 is where you have your strong crosses And you have 1, 2, 3 on each side. So we have a total of 12 crosses there. So that's why I call that bearing my cross. And the second thing that I have completed, I was slow putting out the yarn haul video. I have to put it out now because I can't go back and not put it out. I made it. But I made another puppy hat, guys. The puppy has the long ears and he's got a black tip on one ear. My daughter was like, "Did you run out of yarn?" I'm like, "Wait a minute. I crochet from the bottom up. So if I had run out, it would have been at the top. And plus, I still have this ear to go. I just finished this one just before we started. So that is, see, you have a nice rim on it. I do this basically this long for people who have hair and may want to wear it up in a ponytail. Then you still have enough when you fold the brim down to cover your ears. So that's what I've done there. So that's it for me for the thus far. Sorry. Okay, the thinking cap, which is what I want to get into today. I wanted to kind of go over again because I want everybody to understand where our art form came from. And it traces back as far as 6,500 BC. Y'all, that's over 9,000 years ago. Okay? Modern day crochet is accepted. Excuse me. I am so sorry. I have to go back a little bit. Okay. 6,500 BC in a form called null binding is when they can send crochet back as far as it would go. Null binding is something like taking rope and hand crocheting it to make the rope stronger. And you think about when they used to build the pyramids back in the day, and they needed something stronger than just rope. When you reinforce that rope, I'm sorry, y'all, I took my medicine before I started. Translating this form to working with a single hook came much later in the the early to mid 1800s. Now, before the 1800s, earlier years, a form of tambouring, that's chain stitching on fabric, which we call overlay, developed in Asia and North Africa. Other forms date back to 900 to 1100 AD. And I can't read my writing. And on dolls from China's Shang Dynasty in the 1600s. Now, modern day crochet is accredited to Mademoiselle, hang in here with me, I'm going to try, Mademoiselle Rigaud de la Blanchadière. I think I did pretty good. As she published the first crochet pattern book back in 1829. And you will see a lot of people say that she created crochet. No, she created the first pattern book. Excuse me. I don't know. I'm trying to remember what the name of that publication was. I want to say it was Piccadilly, but don't hold me to that. I think it was. Crochet serves. Okay, how does crochet relate to neurodivergency? Crochet serves as a powerful, rhythmic, and tactile therapeutic tool. Who try saying that fast 3 times? Hi, Eileen. How are you? Welcome in. Okay, crochet serves as a powerful rhythmic and tactile therapeutic tool for managing ADHD, OCD, and PTSD by grounding the mind, reducing anxiety, and providing a mediative creative outlet. For ADD, it keeps the hands busy. That it does. It anchors the mind and it provides structure and creativity. For OCD, it reduces compulsive behavior to a point. I don't know if you all remember, but like I told you, I have to start a project 5 times. It's not right if I don't start it 5 times. And sometimes I'll tell myself, excuse me, especially under a time restraint, I'm not going to start this 5 times. And I'll get well into it just to have to frog it and do it all over again. This year, bless his heart, this year, which should have taken me all of 10 minutes, took me 45 minutes because I had almost completed it and I had to frog it completely and redo it. I almost had it completed on the 4th try. I was like, okay, I got this. And then I measured it with the other side. It was too short, which meant my counts were off. So I had to frog it. Y'all, I am so sorry. When I take my meds, thank you, Leanie. When I take my meds, they do 2 things. My fluid pill, you know what that does. And my happy pill, first of all, in calming down the anxiety, it makes me yawn a lot. I'm not sleepy because if I lay down, I'm not going to be able to go to sleep. Okay. Relative to OCD, it also promotes productive focus. So that's what crochet does relative to OCD. Relative to PTSD, it offers meditative routine. It provides a sense of control and it reduces the number of flashbacks. I can attest to that. So what I have done, because I don't want to bore everybody with the long drawn out, I've been researching this for a couple of weeks actually, but I really got deep into it and started writing things down as of yesterday. And I didn't want to give you this long dissertation. So what I did was dropped a whole gang of links down in the description box so you can go check those out for yourself if you're interested. I know, I don't mind telling you all that I am neurodivergent, and there are a few others in our community that are. Some we know, some we don't know. And those are just really good things to understanding yourself better, you know? So, yeah. Oh, I forgot. One other thing that I did in my thus fars, I think I told you all that I wanted to put my works together, my projects together. I wanted to sort them out. So I took the time to do that. I have to find the bottom piece of this one. So this is one of my pieces. This this stitch was created by Blind Stitches by Marsha Lee. She told me what to do. I did it. I got this far and I stopped. But it is definitely on the list of things to continue. I also set aside the Blancho, the Stitcherhood blanket, and the Carpenter's wheel blanket. So I'm still working on those, but they are over there. I made sure I put them over there. So after I worked on these for a while, I would have to get up and go get them. So in this one, I have the extra what Timothy X. Okay, back to the ADHD. There are two things that I wanted to tell you about. If you suffer from ADHD, there's this thing called the 2 minute trick or the 2 minute tip. And what you can do is, if it's a really small project that you have to do, go ahead and knock it out right away. Don't let it linger. Don't procrastinate. If it's a large project, like getting these together, then give it 2 minutes at a time. Work on it for 2 minutes. Go back and do what you have to do. That's for the ADHD. And if you only have ADHD, that might work for you. I, on the other hand, have the ADHD, OCD, PTSD, anxiety disorder, and depression. Those are my list of characterizations. So they have a rule called the 10-3 rule, and that's work diligently for 10 minutes, break 3 minutes. I do mine a little differently. I set myself up for the hours, and what I do is 15 minutes, 15 minutes, 15 minutes, 15 minutes. 15, um, I said that wrong. 20, 20, 20. Okay. The first 20 minutes, 15 minutes of that, I spend crocheting. 5 minutes, I spend getting up, doing other things. If I have to use the bathroom, go to the bathroom, go fix me something to drink, wash a few dishes, wipe something down, vacuum, something that's not going to take me very long. It just takes my mind away from the monotony of crochet. The next 20 minutes, I do the same thing, 15 minutes of crocheting, and then I go do something else for another 5 minutes. And then after that, I kind of flip the script. I spend 5 minutes crocheting, and then I put 15 minutes into what I have to do around the house. That's that long haul for the time being. And then I start my hour over. Like I say, guys, I spend at least 5 hours a day crocheting. So to break those hours up like that helped me a lot. Okay. Um, that's our tea for the day. Now for their tea. Please, I hope if you didn't catch it, and you'll go down in the description box and check it out. That's a good idea. Yes, it helps. Eileen, trust me, it helps me immensely. It really, really does. Sometimes I'll throw the rule out the window and decide, especially when it comes time to timing myself. And I'm going to try to sneak that in here today. Uh, when I find myself squirreling, I will have to pull back to that. And it helps me to stay grounded. It helps me to get my work done. It's easier, of course, when I'm not recording because then I'm so focused. Plus, I can't go without you guys. I can't. I can't do it. Now, um, what I was saying about counting stitches. If you sell your works, one way that you can come up with how to price your work, and I've seen other tips and tricks. What I do is 3 times a year, I time myself. I spend 3 hours in a day timing myself. Once in the morning, once in the afternoon, and once in the evening. And they're for solid hours. I generally do different stitches. So I'm not overlapping. I'm not doing single crochet the beginning of the year, single crochet, single crochet. I do like single crochet, moss stitch, half double crochet, treble crochet. I'll switch it up because I know that those, hey sis, I'm so happy you're here. But I switch it up because I want to get proper times for each one of those and not just hyper focus on one thing. because I don't just single crochet. I do that more than anything because of the um I'm sorry guys, but because of the tapestry style crochet, I do tend to single stitch more than anything, but I'm starting to integrate that with the half double crochet as well. So we're working on that. But once you figure out, like, okay, somewhere between January and April, I'll time myself. I'll set aside a day for a timing day. Generally, it's when the kids are out of school, so I'm not interrupted by getting up, going to pick them up from the bus stop, making sure I'm fixing snacks. I try to make it on a day that I will have as few interruptions as possible. I don't see the kids as an interruption because once they hear me count out loud, they know that I'm counting and they know that I'm going to need some time. So I go ahead and do my count. I'm sorry, guys. Please forgive me. Please give me grace. I'm trying. But I go ahead and do my count, figure out how many stitches I've done in that hour, and then I take the readings from that morning, that afternoon, and that evening, and I get the average of those. So when I'm sitting down timing myself, I do approximately 1,800 single crochets in an hour. So what I do is figure out how many stitches it's going to take me to finish a project. Say if I have to do a full size blanket, then I know that that's going to be roughly about 175 chains across or 175 stitches wide, and possibly anywhere from 175 to 200 rows long. I multiply that to get the total number of stitches. And then I divide the total number of stitches by my average of how many stitches I do per hour. That gives me the amount of time. You okay? I'm sorry, we just heard something really weird. Bear with me, guys. That gives me the amount of time that I spent on that project. So you take that time, your hours, say it take me 4.5 hours. You multiply that times how much you would charge per hour. I don't suggest you go any less than whatever the minimum wage is. Generally, crafters and people who work by hand, who do handmade things, go higher than minimum wage. But if you are fearful of overcharging someone, stick with the minimum wage. It's a safer route. And if you have to explain that to somebody, it's easier to explain it to them. Hey, look, this is what I've done. And then after you do all of that, I'm sorry, I forgot. Then you can add in what the material costs to do that. Um, the reason for all of that, and it to me, it works better than weighing a skein of yarn prior to and weighing it afterwards, and then figuring out how much I would charge per ounce. And it is just so much easier for me to do it that way. If I know how many stitches I do in an hour, come up with how many stitches it takes to do the project, divide the divide how many I do in an hour into how many it takes to do the project, come up with the number of hours, and then charge from there. And it's like crazy accurate when you do it that way. Someone once told me, and I've heard so many things, multiply if you're working with a large project with big schemes, multiply by 3. I've also heard multiply it by 8. Now let's examine that. If you're lucky enough, say to get a skein of mainstay for $1, and you make a whole scarf times three. $3 for a scarf, guys. Nah. But mainstay, and then the other reason I don't go, that same size skein of mainstay is $4.49, $4.99 at Michael's. It's not mainstay, but I'm saying loops and thread and big twist, you know, and it's such a price difference within the yarn itself that it's hard to judge by that. You know, if you are making a scarf and you're using 3 different colors, and you're using just yarn from Dollar Tree and loops and am I saying it right? Loops and threads. I've never used it before, so I'm sorry. I'm so sorry, but you that you're using loops and threads, um, and then you're also using mainstay. You have 3 different sources, because if you take that little ball of yarn from Dollar Tree, then 4 of those together is going to cost you $5. And then you got $4.99. Okay, so they're close. That's a little closer. But then you got the $3.22. You got $1.77 difference there. You know, you're looking at almost $16 difference. And that's just in one skein of yarn. If it's 5 skeins, that's a whole $80 difference. So yeah, I think I like the way I do it. First of all, I don't understand this. I'm not gonna say I don't have a scale. I do have a scale, but I don't understand it. I have a habit of getting things like that from Temu, and everything that comes to me is written in Chinese or Japanese, and I don't understand it. I the best I can do is sign language and some español. No mucho, pequeño, poquito. That's the best I can do. And a snippet of oui oui français. This is the best I can do. So yeah, that is another little tip or trick that you can use in measuring your yarn. Now, on to the fabulous stuff like the Stitcherhood, and I meant to bring it over so that I could show you guys. I've gotten about this far on it. I decided not to work on it yesterday. I wanted to let it marinate for just a couple of days. Y'all, we heard some calamity outside, and we don't know what it was or where it came from or why. But I decided to let it marinate yesterday because I wanted to work on actually organizing things so I didn't have things all over the place. Plus, there was something else I wanted to start, and I'm going to tell you about that in a minute. The Carpenter's wheel, I've not gotten any further than the last time that I showed you. But Saturday, you're going to see some major differences because we got plans for the day, y'all. And also, Taco Tuesday. That is what I'm working on today. So what had happened was Taco Tuesday came around. And of course, you know, we have the 5 challenges. Okay, I want to make sure I had it. This was this season's finale. And these are the challenges that were presented to us during this episode. They are a baby blanket, a hat and scarf set, a ditty bag, an Irish make, St. Patrick's Day coming up, and a JTYA shawl. Okay? The JTYA shawl is the Juan the Yarn Addict shawl. Well, I don't know if I'm going to do a baby blanket because I got so many blankets that I'm working on. And I don't know if I want to take that on as well. Hat and scarf set. I'm making a hat. I just made a hat and I'm making a scarf. They're not a set, but I just did that. A ditty bag, I might do. It's quick and simple. I might do that. An Irish make, I can make another hat. That's fine. Or I can double dip because I looked up Juan's Juan's I think it was the angel wings shawl. Hello, my twin stitches, Lori. But I found the angel wing shawl and I started that, guys. That is what I started. This is Juan's. And I'm loving it. The only thing I'm not loving about it, and it's me, it's not him, is I mess up on counts somehow. And I think that's why lots of times I don't follow patterns and tutorials because I get so confused and lost in the counts that I get frustrated and I'll trail off and do my own thing. But I told myself I'm going to stick to it. And this is where we are so far. And then I went to the store and I got the yarn to make the hat. So those of you who didn't see, this is the hat that started last night and was completed this morning just before the live started. Thank you, Lori. It has the floppy ears. One ear has the black tip. And that's purposeful. Because, guys, you remember you don't know, but I got the big skein. So I had plenty of green. I just like flip-flopping the ears. And thank you, Joan. I thought it was pretty too. That's why I elected to try it, and it can go in the gift bag. I gave 2 thumbs up. Oh, thank you. Thank you. And of course, the other thing that I'm working on. See, my line scroll just that quick. It went. Shoo. Okay, so once again, the 5 challenges, and yes, it was 5 challenges, 5th season, last episode for this season. You have a baby blanket, a hat and scarf set, a ditty bag, an Irish make, and a Juan shawl. And like I said, I'm working on the yarn shawl, and being that it is green, I'm going to consider this my Irish make. And what I was considering to go along with it was make a little green ditty bag. Because y'all know we got to coordinate. We got to coordinate. So that's what I was thinking about doing there. And that would be 3 in 1. The hat and scarf set, of course. I'll probably go ahead on and do that because it's something quick and simple. I can make it for a child even, and it won't take long at all. The baby blanket, I'm pretty sure I'm not going to get to that one. However, those of you who did not see the new square, and even though this won't be permitted or won't be presented until March, this is the newest created square. And the reason you see so much is because, and the reason I recommend not putting your 5th row on is because you can connect it like the join as you go. So yeah, baby blanket, that just might be. I mean, you think about it. I'm thinking about doing an Easter blanket for next month. Anyway, I just have to pick which squares I'm going to use. That's the part that I haven't done yet. I know we've done the pinwheel. I don't know, guys. I might, my bursting petals. It's a possibility. But what would go good? Which one would go get? I call this bearing the cross or bearing my cross, by the way. The pinwheel kind of looks good with it. Hmm. Puff and stuff. Puff and stuff is too closed in. I need something a little more open. That one is kind of a closed in square. So I need something that's kind of open. Um, I keep forgetting what I'm calling stuff. Clusterbuck. Clusterbuck, I don't think is a bad one. And even though this is closed in, it's something about those openings in there that kind of draw me. And of course, the only reason I won't add Shells by the Bay is because this is extremely textured, and I won't be able to do the join as you go with that. I think I'm gonna have to work on completing this design, and I might make the outer two, yeah, because it's gonna take two more. I might work on the outer two rounds as being kind of open, maybe mesh. I don't know. A round of mesh, and then and then granting the outer. I don't know. We'll see. Or I'll come up with another square altogether and get that done. Now, with that being said, I had a corner to corner blanket that I was working on. And being that I'm already working on the carpenter's wheel, I think what I'm going to do with this one, being that I have all of these designs and things coming up, I might frog these and turn them into my squares for next month. I'm thinking about doing that. That way I don't have to pull colors because you did this. These are some pretty colors. This is the only dark one. That pretty pink. And then the green. It's kind of like it's a minty green. And then your powder blue. Yeah, I think this one was sale yarn. It's kind of stiff. I wanted to just throw it in the wash by itself, but I'm like, no, I'll wait until I finish what I'm making, and then it can all kind of saturate together and do whatever it's going to do together. So, guys, I am working on the Blancho as well. I did put it in timeout for a while because I got frustrated and figured I'm going to start my color palette from the other end. I'm going to do the pink up top. And it is leaning more towards a hot pink. And then I'm going to do the darker colors at the bottom. You don't have to think there's a pretty pink, but something about Easter makes me appreciate that color as well. Yeah, the soft ones, because it just kind of, all of those colors pull each other together, during Easter. It just, when it's not in the color palette, it doesn't hit the same. I did not tell you all what I'm sipping on today. I'm sipping on good old water. With all the yawning, Sister Girl's throat got really, really, really dry. I am not going to hold you all any longer, guys. I want you to please, please, please love yourselves, as I always tell you to do, because self love is the greatest love of all, and you can't love others the way they deserve to be loved unless you first love yourself the way you deserve to be loved, and you deserve the best. Remember, Kitty Lane told you. Remember, Kitty Lane loves you. So until we see each other again on these YouTube streets, peace out, everybody.